All right.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hi, everybody.
We are Tribe Talk Radio Show. It's another Saturday, ladies.
Yes. It's good to be back. No matter your perspective, we've got you. No matter your background, we've got you. Unapologetically holding you down. Tribe Talk, we've got you.
We're just proving it out.
Welcome to another Tribe Talk Radio Show with your host, Trinette Burrell, Santisha Walker, and Tiffany Hatton. We are back today. So excited to be here with another great show. Today, we're going to be talking about being Black in America.
Yes. So as you all know, Tribe Talk Radio Show is a safe haven where women can let their hair down. They can be themselves. We want this to be a place where you can truly connect with your tribe. So our theme here and motto is always, we've got you, no matter your perspective, no matter your background. We are unapologetically holding you down. Tribe Talk, we got you.
That's right.
Listen in on our shows weekly Saturdays at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Catch us on Spreaker and Skyhawk Radio every other Saturday, as well as our new YouTube channel.
Yes.
Tribe Talk Radio Show every other Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be sure to share with your tribe of ladies and use hashtag Tribe Talk Radio Show. If you haven't already, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Tribe Talk Radio Show, and follow us on Twitter at Tribe Talk Radio. If you would like to advertise your company, products, services, or upcoming event, become a sponsor, or be a guest on our show, send an email to contact@tribetalkradioshow.com.
All right, y'all. So before we get started, there's an upcoming event in the Raleigh area, Be Beauty Basics Beauty Class. So that's going to be tomorrow, Sunday, from 2:30 to 6 p.m. at the Mayton Inn in Raleigh, North Carolina. Come be a part of the educational makeup experience for the everyday woman, right? That's who we're talking to,
That's right.
the everyday woman. It's going to be hosted by Adra Campbell, owner of Be Enhanced Beauty. For your ticket purchase, be sure you visit facebook.com/Be Enhanced Beauty. And be sure you stay tuned for more because we'll provide more information about this event.
That's right. With that said, ladies, let's get started. This is a very, very tough topic.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a much needed conversation. Let's talk about being Black in America.
All right.
I know for a fact one of the primary concerns with this topic is parenting. And as a parent of young children, I have 2 young Black boys and a young Black girl. I am faced with a lot of challenges right now on how to raise my children in America as Black children. I know before I got married and had kids and everything, I had said to myself, I don't want to have kids, because I knew that at some point there would be some issues that might come up, especially with having young Black boys. So I kind of just made a list of those things just to guys give you sort of an idea of what goes on in some Black parents' mind. My kids are still really young right now, so there's some challenges that I haven't even come against yet, but there are going to be some conversations that I have to have, and there are some issues that I deal with right now with parenting young Black children. I want to start with this. I want to start with the thought of having the conversation, specifically with my boys, because we know right now in America, well, it's always been like this, but lately in the media, we've noticed a lot of police brutality with young Black boys, with Black men in general and everything. And so there are certain things that you have to talk to them about to make sure they're prepared for these interactions. Even if it does not lead to a fatality or violence in any way, it does still bring a sense of alarm. And I want my boys to be aware of that. So these are a couple things that I would think are going to be important for me when it comes to having this conversation. One, I put down explaining the history of us as Black people. So there's different parts to our history, and I'll keep it short so I can get through the list, but explaining the triumphs and the victories and the strength and the wisdom and the royalty of our people, so that they have confidence in who they are as Black men, so that they carry themselves that way with confidence, but also explaining the history of violence, of slavery, of racism, of discrimination, so that when they encounter people who don't understand them, who don't like them for no reason, because at first they're not going to understand.
Right.
They've been living with mommy and daddy. They've been in their environment with their family, people who look like them, people who love them. So they're not going to be familiar with these things, and it might scare them. So I have to explain to them what that looks like and why. Also, defining true power versus perceived power. And this was good to me when I thought about it. It was good to me, honey. I really had to dig deep, because I'm like, okay, this is something that I've never had to do before. Like, I've experienced it. I've talked to my husband about his experiences, but having to like translate that to like a small mind, not small as in like, you know, inferior, but just, you know, they don't know a lot right now. But true power versus perceived power, I'd like to say that there are people in this world, because of their status, because of their color, because of their economic status, social status, degrees, all of that, they have a perception of power. They believe that they're more powerful than someone who is not on their level. So that's the perceived power. And so with that, they feel as if they can treat you a certain way because they are above you. Versus true power. True power is actually your confidence. True power is actually knowing who you are, knowing what you possess, your values, your ethics, your morals, what you're capable of, your strengths, your weaknesses, and acting on those things and succeeding in life with those things, and knowing how to respond to a situation, knowing how to control yourself, knowing how not to act out of emotion. That's true power. And you have to choose which one of those you want to give into. Do you want to give into that person's ignorance, their perceived power, and let them dominate you and control you and manipulate your emotions and feelings in that moment and get you to act out of character? Or do you want to act on your true power and stand firm on who you are and understand that no matter what and no matter how you're treated, you're going to come out on top? In short. So there was that. Explaining hatred, which is kind of what I mentioned before. And then, of course, explaining compliance. So once my kids get of age and they're driving, or they're just out in the world on their own, in the mall or doing whatever they do, and they are approached, and specifically by police officers or, you know, people of the law, enforcing the law, explaining what compliance actually means versus what they're going to make you feel it means. Teaching them to understand what the law says, what their rights are, and then being in compliance with that versus being in compliance with a person's words that mean nothing. In short, like I said, I'm going to keep it short so that we can kind of go back and forth and dig deeper. And then, again, teaching them to think smart, to be able to think on your feet, to think with your head, to think with logic, and not always to think with emotion. Because it'll rile you up to interact with people who don't like you because of your color, who treat you bad because of your color. It riles me up, and I'm grown, and I've been dealing with it all my life. But I want to teach my children that use logic, think, have a plan. You know, we'll go through scenarios, so you kind of already have an idea of how you're going to respond, and that keeps you out of trouble as well, hopefully. Not always. Right.
Because Trayvon Martin complied.
Exactly. There are plenty. Right. Yeah. And at the end of the day, you can't control another's actions, but what you can do is control your own. Yeah. And you do the best that you can. And unfortunately, sometimes that's not enough because we still live in a world full of evil. And also explaining that fair isn't always a factor in certain situations. When you're a person of color, fair is not even sometimes a consideration. What's fair in a moment, what's fair in a situation, what's fair because you've complied with the officer or with a teacher or, you know, anyone in a position of authority, that does not necessarily mean that they factor that in their decision to punish you or, you know, hurt you in some way, lock you up, put you in, whatever the case may be. So that's a start. That's just the conversation. Right. And that's what I'm saying. This is like packed full of stuff. Yeah. And I'm sure I missed some, but I'm thinking about how young my kids are now. But once they start to grow, I'm sure there are things that I'm going to want to add to that conversation. There's dating. that comes into play. You know, dating outside of your race, if that's what you choose to do, or all sorts of things. And, you know, I'm going to be transparent. Like, I'm nervous, but I have to do it.
So I want to speak to the no kid. Like, okay, you were saying when you got married, you were saying like, you know, I don't even know if we want to bring kids anymore. So Derek and I, you know, we don't have any children, and although we want children, that's a conversation that we have often because we're kind of in a safe zone when it comes to parenting because we don't have children, and so we don't have to worry about the things that you all have to worry about because, you know, it doesn't apply. And so we're like, man, this world is so jacked up. I mean, you know, we really don't have to bring on that stress if we don't want to, you know?
Right.
Like,
you have choices right
now.
now.
I have choices right now. Like, he is a black man, so I have to, you know, keep him covered, keep me covered, and I worry about that. Like, for example, him and 3 other black guys are, you know, traveled to Virginia Beach this weekend for a flag football tournament. They were on the road before dark. And they're traveling through Virginia. And so my first thought was, please be careful. Virginia, you know, they'll get you for speeding 1 mile over the speed limit. You just don't want to be stopped for any reason. So that's a worry that I have to carry. But the children part, we've had that conversation. I know some of our friends who don't have children, we sit around and we're like, I mean, you know, we can kind of just be free from that. So that's a real thought. The other thing that you said about riling you up, sometimes they'll do it on purpose. Just to get a reaction out of you. And so when you understand the world you live in, you can see through that and realize, okay, you're trying to get a reaction out of me. I mean, I told you a guy tried to run me off the road. I've had that happen a couple times in like a pretty, you know, nice neighborhood around here. And he just, I guess, thought I wasn't worthy of being there. And I'm minding my business. And he's literally trying to run me off the road. And I got my feelings. And so I, you know, I got my feelings.
You human. Yeah.
I understand.
And I did something I probably shouldn't have done. I didn't get out of my car and put myself in danger, but ultimately I did because I fed into what he wanted from me. Right. And so we always have to think, it's kind of like we have to be double-faced or two-faced.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, I can't go into their world, even though I live in their world, so to speak. I have to always keep that. But they'll do it on purpose. Another thing is I want to hit on real quick is it's important to know who you are. I came across a video and there was this guy who had this flag. He was in a white truck and he had a flag outside of his truck, and he was stopped in a neighborhood in Philadelphia or somewhere.
Like a Confederate flag?
It was a Moore flag.
Oh, a Moore flag.
And the police could not touch him. And so he was literally, I guess they stopped him for something that they thought he did wrong, and there were a bunch of police officers around. They were white, and he had the flag out. He said, y'all took an oath, you cannot touch me, I'm a Moor. And they literally could not do anything to him. And so he knew who he was, and so it made me want to research, like, am I Moor? You know, it made me want to research, like, you know, what does that mean?
Moor just means black.
Well, it's legally a certain tribe.
But it's now they're now a lot of us are going towards Moor. It means black in its original what is the etymology of the word, the actual definition,
like the most
of it,
format of it.
So but they are legally like if you accept that you're Moor, or you go ahead and take that as a legal what's identity, then you're covered at that point. And if you're black in America and you're from America, you're most likely a Moor in that sense. Not that that's your origin, right, but it's what you can come under to, from my understanding, for the protection, you know. So,
and he used that to his advantage, and they could not they could not touch him. So
that's that true power versus that perceived power.
And that's know who you are versus like, you know, we're kings, and that's good to know that you are, but really understand like who you are.
Not in America. I mean, you're king, and then you were born, you know, from a people. You need to know the greatness of where you come from, so you can know who you are. And as a child, you know, teaching your children that they're 3 and 4. Well, you're going to be 3 and 4.
Soon to be 3 and 4, and then my daughter will be a year soon.
So this is a perfect age to start building that confidence and having little mini conversations and start training them up. So you won't wait until they're average 4 or 5 years old and they have an experience,
right?
And then they're like, now they're kind of like shocked. and
But
they're
I
kind
wanna
of
tell you about
traumatized from
that.
it. And then you have to go and you have to kind of go backwards and then go, you know, and so you should just do it now. So it's good you're starting early.
Speaking of that experience that they might have at that age, they don't realize it, but we do experience it even now. And I don't think the oldest, I don't think it's hit them yet that that's happening at playgrounds and stuff like that. When we're going out, there are people who will leave the park when we get there, and I'm like, what in the world? Like. I'm not supposed to be at the park. Like, my kids don't need to play.
Yep.
There are kids who are afraid to play with my kids. And I'm like, this is not, you know, decades ago. This is 2019. Like, what is going on? Grocery stores. There are people who, and like, I appreciate the compliments when they give them, but sometimes it's a bit offensive when people walk up to you like, oh my God, your kids are so well behaved. There are other kids in the restaurant doing the same thing that my kids are doing.
Yeah.
But they come up to, oh my God. I'm like, why is it a surprise that my kid, I mean, it might surprise me. But why is it surprising you that my kids are just as, like, they're well behaved, just like the white kids sitting over here 2 tables away. You know what I mean? So we deal with that, and I feel like maybe soon with the oldest, he's going to start noticing, why do you don't want to play with me? Or why did she run away? Or what? Like, it's happening all the time. And you're right. Like, to get him, you know, just thinking, not to be arrogant, but to help him understand that it's going to be like this.
So
and you're set apart.
At what age, I think, Treda, you've done a little research on this. At what age should they have that conversation? Because children, I think you were saying around like 5, because we all have that like
experience
subconscious, like we're always absorbing from the time we're conceived, but like 5 or 6.
Yeah, because I say that because usually that's where they go into kindergarten, pre-K kindergarten, so they're starting to experience the racism on a different level where the kids don't want to play with them on the playground. That's usually where it first happens, and then their kids are repeating things that their parents are saying, and that's when it hits them. But if you can have it beforehand in the sense of just building up their confidence in who they are, letting them know that, you know, we're in a multicultural, you know, environment, what that looks like. Yeah, we all, you know, just having a certain little conversation. The videos, you can use YouTube to try to show, you know, the brown kids and the other kids playing together. Yeah. I just want to say this, though. We don't normally have that issue. Being brown, we as in black and brown people, we let our kids play with anybody. Yes. If, you know, I want to put that out there. We don't have the issue. It's always the other way around. We let our kids play. You know, we watch. You know, we're aware, but we let our kids play with anyone. But it was always the other race have the issues with us.
I noticed that.
We
too.
always are trying to accommodate other races as well, though.
We do.
But
we try to
We're always
accommodate
accommodating
them.
other people. And I really tell my kids, no. Because you start that early, and then they're going to always grow up and feel like they always have to always be accommodating in certain situations. And no, you don't have to. If they don't want to play with you, it's their loss.
That's right.
If they don't want to speak to you in the grocery store and you're a little kid and you're waving to this white lady that's just staring at you and she's just looking at you, then I look back and I say, don't worry about it, sweetie. She just doesn't want to speak to you today. But you have good manners, and I'm so proud of you, and blah 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 and blase.
This is a real thing. I remember us having a conversation about that a little while ago, but that's the real thing. Like my kids, especially my younger boy, he will wave at everybody. He'll walk up to you and hug you. He'll have a conversation with a stranger, good and not good. But still, you know, he's friendly. And there are people who will have a conversation back, and there are others who just really. I'm like, it's a 2-year-old kid.
And you know what? But see, and so thinking about that, like we as humans, we want to bottle that up, and either you can become angry or you can use that for creativity. You know what I'm saying? Because that is, a learning experience. And that's, you can create, you know, a way to combat that. Or, you know, so I want to teach them, use that energy for, like, recognize it, but use it to create something.
That's right.
Because the other race recognize money and blood, red and green. That's what moves them.
That's good.
Blood and money.
That's right.
So not that you're trying to get in their world, but just be creative. You're angry, right? All right, let's go create something.
That's right. That's good. I like that a lot.
Channel that energy.
Yes,
I like it.
I mean, so
Okay, can we talk about one thing?
Yeah.
Colorism, though. That's something that.
I have that in my notes, but no, you go ahead.
Well, you know, just a little bit. So one of the So one of the things, like, we're gonna take a quick break, but one thing that happens in the African American Black community in America is colorism, and that's a form of, you know, racism. But you're putting the lighter against the darker, and we can make all shades of human beings.
Yes, we can.
That's right.
But
Even white ones.
Yeah, we can.
Make white ones. Yeah, without help. Yeah.
Yep.
And it's just interesting how that occurs in the African American community. But I think that's something we need to talk about.
We'll talk about it. I got it in my notes. Go ahead.
in a
We can talk about it.
We're coming. We'll be right back, guys.
Yeah, that's good.
No matter your perspective, we've got you. No matter your background, we've got you. Unapologetically holding you down. Tribe Talk, we've got you. Comment below. Let us know what your experience is, what your advice is, anything. It's a hot topic that we definitely need to keep this conversation going, but we need some solutions to the problem, not just to have a conversation.
Right.
I think that's a big deal.
Yeah, and Tribe Talk, we're all about taking this out. Have I was going to call it a think tank, but have something where you come together with others in your community and really talk about it. It's fun and we enjoy it, but this is why the show came about.
Right.
Like we take this serious.
Yes.
So these are topics that are affecting our community, and like we don't play with it. Take it out to your community.
You can't play with it. No matter your perspective, we've got you. No matter your background, we've got you. Unapologetically holding you down. Tribe Talk, we've got you. Welcome back to Tribe Talk Radio Show, where today we are discussing a really hot topic, being Black in America. We were going to pick up with going into colorism, but we're going to just put a pin in that and come back to it in a little bit later.
So we're going to continue with another topic about being Black in America, and that is Black entrepreneurship, Black business ownership. We are the largest growing sector of business ownership in, I think, the world. We are doing it. So one of the things that I want to start with, I have a list here of 11 realities faced by Black-owned businesses, but something I know I struggled with when I started my company, and I hear others struggle with, is do you use your face? Do you use yourself as the face of your company? This is a question that a lot of Blacks in America are struggling with, because now if you're a pro-Black company and you're tailoring just to the Black community, then it makes sense.
Yeah.
But if you're tailoring to corporations and other ethnicities, then do you use your face? And I want y'all to chime in, like, right? I want to know what y'all think.
Right.
But do you use your face as the face of your company, or if you don't want to be, like, if you're not photogenic, do you use another Black face? I read an article where this guy, actually, he was the owner and founder, but of like a landscape construction company, but he decided to put himself as the project manager, and then he would send out like white employees as the face of his company. And he even would put them on his website. They didn't know that it was a Black-owned company, and he became very, very successful, like multimillionaire. But he was also very conflicted within himself, because he knew he was living a lie.
Yeah.
And so that was a concern for me. I chose to put myself out there. I know without a doubt, my gut is telling me that it is, and I tailor towards like companies, corporations. I know it has hindered me from getting certain contracts. But at the end of the day, I'm happy because I know I'm living my truth. Yeah. And I can really be honest when I'm in the Black community, right? Because we were at a Juneteenth celebration, and I, can honestly say, yes, I am the owner of my company, and my people, like, they identify with me, and I know at the end of the day, it's my community that actually need my services, probably more so than the others, because we deal with so many health disparities. But that was a struggle of mine. I know some other business owners who really say, well, do I use my face? Do I not use my face? I want to be successful, but then what is success to you? Like, what does that really look like for you? What deems you to be successful? Like having, but with me, I have found peace in knowing that at the end of the day, I would rather make a difference in my community. I'm not trying to trying to help others. And so I'm okay with having 1 or 2 clients a year, whatever that looks like for me, because I know that who I'm talking to.
Yeah.
But that is a struggle that many Black owners deal with. Let's talk about that before I go into my list.
Well, go ahead. You go ahead.
Well, I would like to say that, yes, it's a struggle. Also, being a business consultant, I deal with that. There are people that say, take me off. They literally have said, take me off of the website, take me off of the, the paperwork, and I got somebody else. I want them to be the face, because when we go out there and we're selling and we're marketing, they need to see that face, because people respond better. So, and they say for them, as long as they're reaching their the demographic that they need to reach, and as long as their underlying mission, they're able to achieve their mission. A lot of them are nonprofits.
Yeah.
They're trying to raise some money.
So
that, they change it up
because
they
have to conform.
And they feel like it's okay, because ultimately in the end, they're making, the community better. They just need the dollars. They just need the money. Like you said, it just depends on what your goal is and what your ultimate mission is. And are you a pioneer?
Yeah.
Being a Black woman in business, you're a pioneer. You got other people looking up to you. If you need to show your face. You know what I'm saying? So what is your goal? What's your purpose of being in business? That's something you have to think about. And like you said, your end goal. I want to say it's unfortunate, though, because even though corporate America is white, the biggest spenders in America are Black.
Yep.
And so I say shame on us, because we are the biggest spenders. So when we see a Black face, being a Black face should really make us multimillionaires.
That's right.
Because we
that
spend
is
billions
really
of
good.
dollars. You see what I'm saying?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
But I think, see, we spend it with other races. So
Yeah.
we feel like, well, they don't buy our.
That's why it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But
a
why
dollar,
is it that we're spending it with other? Do we trust them? more? Like what is it? What
Yeah.
is it in our
It's
psyche, in our
psychological.
mind that's making us feel like we need to go the other route and our people's businesses aren't good enough?
Go back to Willie Lynch, honey. Go
Right.
back to Willie Lynch.
Now, I will say
syndrome.
this.
It's a syndrome.
Yes, and the media, right? We know who controls
Right.
the media, propaganda.
Yeah.
I will say this though, my black people. Now we got to do better when
We
it comes
do.
to business.
This is all the facts.
Because there have been times that I have wanted to partner and do business
That's
with,
right.
with local. And
Yeah.
if someone sends you an email and I'm fussing, yes. If
But it's true.
But
so
if someone like, come on, acknowledge that you received it 72 hours if you're busy. Just say,
my
hey,
God, yes.
I got your email. Because honestly, in business now, you do have to move on to what's next.
Right.
But we have to do better with communication, with honoring our word, with contracts, following through. If you don't know how to handle this, there are black businesses who can do this for you.
That's true too.
But so I
Outsource.
think it's double, and I
right.
think we're shooting ourselves in the foot and saying, well, I don't trust the black businesses. But when you're a black business owner, do right.
And
It's
and
twofold.
be humble enough to see. For me, I know when I was in corporate America, I was sent to a lot of different business conferences that taught me certain business
Etiquette.
So I think a lot of times we lack the business etiquette and the training and the example.
Yeah.
But
Like y'all said, there are black businesses
That do that
that
now,
provide
right?
that for you.
Right.
So it's a catch-22, but at the same time, it's like we can actually fix this problem.
we can.
It's a
Within
combination
our own community.
Within our own community. It's a combination of the businesses making sure they step up to the plate, follow through, be professional,
Yes.
set the bar,
Customer service.
and then
my
everything. This is
For
it
real.
really
We got-
matters.
Attitude matters.
And
Yeah.
then-
altitude.
Right. And then give us a
Serious.
try.
Yeah.
Give another black business a shot, even if it's one a month.
Especially in
Start
this
somewhere.
season with the millennials.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
especially now because they're serious about their business.
They're
Us
playing their
Generation X too as well. Because, we paved the
started
way.
it, yeah.
But I'm saying, like, now everybody is serious about their business. And if you don't get serious, you're going to get left behind.
You are.
So I'm just saying, this is a good climate to start doing business with each other again. I think
Yes.
something special is going, we can redo Black Wall Street if we need to.
Right.
Right?
Facts.
Let's rebuild it.
Hey. So I want to read something real quick that says black erasure is a manifestation of whitewashing. And this is from ebony.com. When we see whitewashing in we see whitewashing in Hollywood movies with the music industry and high fashion, even with history, and we don't need it from other black people, especially those in positions to create jobs. Catering to racist white people in order to survive or to grow a business is a reductive excuse. It's not surviving, it's selling out. Another thing that was mentioned is, let's see, one of the traits of racism is the visceral devaluing of black lives, or in this case, black talent. Black business owners don't owe black people, but what they do owe their community is reverence and acknowledgement. Their business doesn't have to be Black Panther approved, but whitewashing a team is just another way of undermining black talent and the power of emerging black economy.
Wow.
And I mean, that's so true. Like when you don't put your face out there, or don't acknowledge that you are a black owned business, that ultimately, I think there's
whitewashing.
lack of respect even in the white community, because
Yes,
they're saying,
I agree.
why don't you all like want to put your face out there? And they may not understand our thinking behind it, but do it. They also do it.
Yeah. That was heavy.
Yeah,
though.
that was heavy. When I saw that screenshot, I was like, I gotta read that.
But let's acknowledge the statement that it doesn't have to be Black Panther approved either.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So it's like you
Right.
don't have to put pro black on everything
Right.
that is related to your business. Just show you like just be not neutral, but be proud to be
proud.
black.
Don't be a self-hater.
Exactly.
Yes,
That's
don't
what it
hate
is.
yourself.
Yeah.
Shameless plug. If you go to my website, walkergroupHW.com, you'll see, like, I do have a Caucasian face up there. I had like scrolling of the photos when you first come on. I also have, the Indian. I also have black. I have everybody, but you see my picture as the owner of the company,
That's
and you
right.
see my team. So I'm incorporating everyone, but my husband and I purposely made sure that it was more, like 70-80% black on there. But I didn't want to. I'm not racist, so I didn't want to leave out. We cater to everybody. Money's money.
Yeah, money is money.
Money is
Money's green, and it spins.
Yeah,
You know. Well, the money here is green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In
It's a
America.
green. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
we got
I don't- it's-
cryptocurrency that has no.
Yeah,
Yeah, these days.
Well,
money
that's
is all
virtual.
kinds of
That
color.
is virtual.
Yeah.
Money is money. Money's really all numbers. You know, you can attract it. Okay, let's know the topic.
That's a good topic, though.
So one of the things I want to read really quickly is 11 realities. And this is just a list. 11 realities faced by Black-owned businesses. So let me know if y'all want to like tap on any of this. Hiding race, right? We just talked about that. Fear of being a sellout. Right. Heavy is the crown worn by Black business owners. Right. Fractured finances. We talked about that during the commercial break. Lack of consistent and unconditional support. Meeting unrealistic expectations. Ignorance about effective business practices. We just talked about that. All money ain't good money.
At 2.
Questioning of product and service integrity. Belief in our value. Just talked about that. Competing instead of collaborating. Emulating the stereotypes. Right. So that's a good one. Emulating the stereotypes.
Stay there for 1 second.
That's a good one. To be fair, many Black-owned businesses contribute to the realities that plague them. Poor communication and customer service, lack of professionalism, and subpar products make it hard for those who are on their A game. Right? The running joke about CP time is played out.
It is.
It is. Black-owned businesses need to stay on point if they want to thrive. So if you know there are stereotypes within the business arena, don't give in to it.
Right.
And
And
yes,
especially
you're gonna
don't
have to
give
work
into
hard.
it and then
I mean, just for me, started on the bottom.
Now we're here. Hey,
For real.
started on the bottom. Okay.
Okay. But you know what I'm saying? What we did, we started on the bottom. And yes, we may have to run twice as hard. We may have to work twice as hard. But that's just our reality.
Right.
Stop
Gotta
complaining
accept
about
it.
it and just do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's what did Nike day back in the day? Just do it.
It's like you either do it or you don't. Two
Yeah.
options.
Yeah, it's one or the other. And you swim, you sink or you swim, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to swim with the big boys, then you got to act like the big boys. Honestly, you got to be professional like the big boys.
So real quick, what is acting? Because when some people here act like the big boys, they think like,
You're compromising.
They think they have to be a certain way.
But there are certain business principles that you have to
That's
follow.
it. That has
Right.
nothing to do with
With
race
acting.
or acting.
Right, right.
So something Nipsey Hussle, I was watching something that
R.I.P.
he was on a show with like these guys. It was called The Basement or something with Tank. Was it Tank? Avant?
Yeah.
One
It's,
of them.
Oh, he was on that show?
Yes.
Yeah.
So they brought him in and they were sitting around. They were talking about, you know, when you're in the boardroom or when you're doing business, how they all button up a little bit more and how they, you know, right, you know, articulate themselves different. And Nipsey was more so like, no. Nipsey's like, my brand is I am who I was street smart. I'm a smart guy. But he basically said, like, no matter where I am, and everybody can attest to this, I am who I am.
Well, see, that's because
different.
that's his brand.
Yeah.
That's hip hop. Yeah.
He's accepted that as his brand, and people expect that as a part of his brand. So I think a lot of times we become chameleons. Know what our brand is.
Because that
and what
doesn't
we're bringing to
necessarily
the
mean that
table.
he wasn't professional.
Right.
Just because he didn't like change his clothes
Yeah.
and change his what do you call it? Like his accent or
Right.
vernacular.
Right.
He spoke different and dressed different. But he probably still carried out his business in a professional way.
He did.
You know?
And as I get older, I'm becoming more of that. Like, you either love me or you hate me. Like, you want it or you don't. You know,
Right.
like, who I am, whether I'm sitting with the president of the company or with the janitor of the company. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
Right.
You either gonna want my locks
or you don't
You
want
don't.
them, you know? And I love that. I love that we're in that era. And I think the older generation, like a little bit of us, y'all, again, the millennials, do it boldly. We kind of teeter-tottered on it.
We were taught to.
We were
Yeah.
taught to.
Yeah, a lot of y'all coming out though.
Oh, we
Y'all,
Yeah.
some of y'all just out, so I'm with it. Out.
But this is a so, some are scared, I think, into this game because of that. They're Black, they have great ideas, but they're like, how do I execute it and how am I going to be taken serious? And you know, I'm an attorney on you know, every day, but then I have these ideas, I don't know that I want to step into it. And it's like Trinetta said, either you do it or you're going to be left behind. And then what is life if you're not living it?
That's
That's
it.
right.
You know, you don't want to die saying what if.
I think that's the ultimate thing, at least for me in my
Yeah.
transition into the next. Well, I'm not going to be a grandparent, or nothing, but for me, I'm crossing over 40,
are.
so
Yeah.
I'm transitioning to another stage of mindset. Yeah, what's living? I need to live. I want to live, and I'm getting to the point where I do not care what people think. I do not care what they say.
awesome.
And it sounds, when I say that, I mean, I'm aware that I need to,
Yeah.
I'm in the courtroom. I need to do as I need to do in the courtroom.
Right. That's not what
That's
you
not what
mean.
I'm saying, but I'm saying I'm still going to be me
Yeah.
in that.
Yeah.
And I'm going to live my best life, like you always say. And I'm going to do it the way I want to do it because I don't want to have regrets. See, I'm thinking of at the end of my life, out of what, when I look back and would I say I did everything that I wanted to do. You know, I achieved all that I wanted to achieve. And I've looked back now and I'm like, okay, I'm on the move. But a lot of the things I did, I was influenced. You know,
Yeah.
I thought that I had to do it this way because, you know, that's just the way America was. But now I can go forth and teach my children to do something. And it's funny because I'm raising kids in the millennial age.
Yeah, you are.
And I'm letting them go all the way, 100%
awesome.
millennial. So I had to let go of some things
Yeah.
to go forward. You know what I'm saying? This way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff.
I was
man.
gonna
We
say
can talk
something about
this.
that, but then I was like, no, yeah. I was about to say, but there's still. I mean, I don't think you've lost it. There's still principles that come from your generation that still apply.
Yeah,
but
foundation.
yeah,
Yeah, all my
the foundation
foundational
ain't
stuff.
changed. But yeah,
Right. But
Yeah.
I'm willing to be more expressive
Pliable
and
and
more.
everything.
That's
Yeah.
fluid.
Yeah.
And flexible.
I like it.
Yeah.
And just, you know, with this, just be us who we are at all
Yeah, man,
times.
because
And do
because
it.
you're made the way you were made. I
Right.
believe your gifts make room for you, and you were made to be you. Your
right.
DNA is uniquely you. So
that's
if you
the whole
change
show,
that,
honey.
okay, we gotta go.
I know.
Okay.
Lois is looking, but I got one thing to say. But see, as a people, we are creative like
Every-
that, right? But it
every
was,
break.
I know, it was I know, like I just got something to say. But it was out of us, and
It was beat out of us.
We were to conform
To live,
to something
to survive.
that was not us.
Gosh, this is so
and
good.
So that's what we're. That's that constant battle of you go to work and then you like come home. You're like, whew, like I can breathe. So, all right. So we're gonna take a break.
Yes, we'll be right back. It's so good. We're coming back. No matter your perspective, we've got you. No matter your background, we've got you. Unapologetically holding you down. Tribe Talk, we've got you. No matter your perspective, we've got you. No matter your background, we've got you. Unapologetically holding you down. Tribe Talk, got you.
Ladies, if you're in search of a way to create an organic makeup look with ease, if your lashes need length and life and you want to enhance them without extensions, if you're obsessed with eyebrows and can't quite grasp the needs, come out to the Be Beauty Basics event and perfect the technique of applying simple fresh-faced makeup for any occasion. Learn the art of natural beauty enhancement that best suits you. Sign up for the basic silver, gold, or platinum access ticket and receive items to kickstart your tailor-made makeup look. So grab your friend, coworker, mother, daughter, and come discover the outer beauty that is uniquely yours. Find more at Facebook.
We are back with more Being Black in America. We just wrapped up. Did we wrap it up? Talking about being a Black business owner in America. Like there's so much to each one of these topics that we're kind of touching on today. But we have something even, I'm not going to call it juicy because it's really serious, but it's even more heavy, I guess you can say. What are we talking about?
We're talking about racism in healthcare. For Black women who become pregnant, it's a matter of life and death. We're going to start there.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. We all knew about Serena Williams' situation. And I'm glad, I'm sorry, Serena, I didn't mean to say I'm glad it happened to you. But if it happened to her, I'm glad that everything came to the forefront because I actually experienced some things myself with my childbirthing experience personally. When I first came, my mom did as well. Remember when I was born, she was in labor for 3 days.
Yes.
And something that we've talked about, my doctors have expressed over the last few years when they found that I had what looked like a fractured skull was when she wanted to have the baby, they kept sending her home and then they threatened that they were going to sue. And that's when they decided to go ahead and take me.
Wow.
Now, she had a C-section, but before then they stuck a needle through her birth canal and popped the bubble popped the bubble, but they actually pierced my brain. They literally pierced it. So that was even me coming into the world. That was an issue. And from there, mom, she was in the hospital for 30 days and she was really sick. So she was in a dire situation, but she had to threaten a malpractice lawsuit and just to deliver her baby.
That's ridiculous.
Fast forward, of course, that caused me to have some, seizures and things like that. All the way through to me having children. And there's some things that happen in between when we talk about experimentation and things. But, I've been experimented on, believe it or not. But all the way through to my childbirthing experience, I almost died twice. I had 3 C-sections and the last 2, I almost died, especially that last one. And found out that my OB didn't do some things right. He actually did some things that were illegal. I found out later. And that my anesthesiologist said that if I wasn't having a baby, she wouldn't even operate on me because I was too high risk of stroking out on the table. Things that could have been taken care of before I got to that point. Yeah. So to make a long story short, I personally have experienced this, but Black women have been experiencing it all the way back through slavery.
Yeah.
And, we have some articles and things.
It's finally coming to light.
It's finally coming to light. And what made me want to talk about it, specifically, we were going to talk about it back in May, was that it's even on the political stage now.
Yes.
We have some women running for president. And I think I was shocked when I saw a white woman talking about the issue concerning Black women.
Yeah.
Right? She caught my attention. I'm like, wait a minute. What's going on here? Who's this Elizabeth Warren? I was like, what? And that drew me in. Yeah. And then I saw that it's actually becoming an issue that they're talking about in politics, and they're making everyone, face the issue of women dying in childbirth because of the healthcare system.
Well, just to touch on it, really, I know you have some articles and everything, but just to piggyback on that is very true. Some things had started to come to light in the media and everything with women in childbirth. And with my last child, I was nervous. So, I am glad we're having this conversation because I was nervous all up until she came out. But, just preparing to go into the hospital and everything, I'm praying like, God, I do not want to die. And not that I had any complications, but because you can't trust doctors sometimes. And I don't mean to put that out on all doctors, but with the way things have been, it's unsettling going to the doctor, complaining and feeling like they don't believe you.
She said, that's, and I had 3 friends that happened to two friends I have to in a matter of a year, and we had heard of others. But she said that's just weird to me. I don't remember our generation having that many stillborns and that many miscarriages. And she was just saying, that's just sad that it's happening. And they were pretty far along, like 7 months out, giving birth to dead children. And I think it's because when they are having concerns, they're not being taken serious.
Yeah, it's in the prenatal stage. I mean, there are things that are going on. Like for me, I was having many strokes. They thought I was having many strokes. They put down on the record that I was having TIAs. And I was telling my doctor of all the symptoms and the things that were going on. And the doctor wrote down many TIAs. So when the anesthesiologist, because before I had to schedule, when you have C-sections like that, they schedule you. So when I went in and she was like, "You've been having many strokes, well, what did the doctor do about it? Did he do this? Did he do that? And I was like, no, he didn't do anything, and you're anemic, and what's going on with that, blah, blah, blah. And to make a long story short, I was mad at my doctor going into my C-section because he was supposed to do some things in the prenatal, care stage to prepare me for this. And then once I had my C-section, I like to bled to death on the table because he did an experimental procedure on me that I found out that was just approved within the last 6 months. And he was the only one. He beat his chest. He said, "I'm the only one in North Carolina who's brave enough to do it."
And
the nurses
didn't get your approval.
Well,
for
what happened was you have to get, when you are pregnant, there's a stage where they ask you, what are your, when you have the baby, what are you going to be your birth control methods and options, right? After you get past a certain stage, they're not, that's it.
That's
you
right.
have to do it because you're going to say anything when you get to that last stage
to be making those kind of decisions.
Well, I made my decision, and then he came back to me after that was right before I delivered and said, there's a procedure that I want to do for you because when I was younger, they found cancer cells in my body, so he wanted to prevent. If it came back, to prevent ovarian cancer and blah, blah, blah. This is what he said based off of my history years ago. And I consented because I was like, okay, that could save a life,
Without having all of the information, without being in a place where you're calm
really,
and ready to
you're
make
8 months.
It matters.
You're 8 months pregnant. You're just ready to get it out of you, and you ready.
Yeah.
Well, he came back and said, well, scratch through. You know me. Y'all know me. Y'all know I know better. But I was just like, okay, so scratch through this and just put my signature. So I redid my signature. And the nurses came to me later and said that you were again experimented on. It hasn't, he's the only one that was brave enough to do it. And good that you had a conversation with him because you have saved other people's lives. I had a conversation in there. But my point is, they were like, I had a hard time recovering. They didn't think I was going to make it through the night because I bled more than what I was already anemic. Is what I'm saying. He kept me open and cut my tubes. He took my tubes out all the way out.
Was this?
And at that time,
your last one?
It was with Trinity.
Okay. I remember that because I remember you being severe anemic. They had to do an iron.
They had to do IV iron infusion the next day.
They had to do an iron infusion.
Yeah, they did. They did. Yeah, they had CT scans. Iron infusion, all of that stuff. Oh, and he would not give me blood transfusion. I was at the point of blood transfusion, but he was like, I don't care if you're down to a 3. I'm not giving you any blood.
This is what the doctor said to her.
This is what he said. I'm not giving you any blood. And I'm like, and I've been anemic before, and I'm like, okay, but my other doctor, when I got out the hospital, said, oh my God, you need to go tomorrow. You can't take care of a baby this low. You're going to faint. You're going to pass out. You're going to die. And so he sent me over and I got the IV iron infusion. So like I said, this is a personal experience.
Right. I was about to go in, but
so do y'all think having a white or black doctor makes a difference? I have my thoughts on this because I work with doctors. So
I would say sometimes, but I've had good experiences. The one that told me that I was experimental was a white doctor.
Yeah, I was going to say something similar because this most recent pregnancy, I ended up having a black doctor who, brought the child out, but got my process started when I first got in, was a white male, treated me like a queen. You know what I mean? And I at first I was caught off guard, but he treated me like, but I've had black female doctors who have dismissed me in some ways. And so I think it just depends.
Yeah.
It depends on the doctor.
So we, one of the things, I work with a lot of doctors. So one of the things I noticed is no matter like what, it's kind of like, I hate to go here. I'm going.
She's coming.
It's kind of like churches who are in bed with the government, 501c3.
Oh, that makes sense.
And if you know, you know, right?
Yeah.
Healthcare providers are in bed with each other, so to speak. So I don't think race really matters. I think it's who they're connected with and the agenda. So, yeah. So, a lot of people say, well, I'm going to go to a black doctor. Just know at the end of the day, you still need to be watching for things. You still need to advocate for yourself. Trust and
verify.
And they always get a second opinion, third opinion.
Oh, yeah.
Fourth opinion. I mean, do what you need to do to make sure you are settled in the decision that you're going to make. And they shouldn't have asked you that question that far along in your pregnancy. You never, now, unless it's a life or death and you're bleeding in that moment, that is the only time that they can take you in emergently without your consent. And usually if there's a family member who is competent in the room, they'll, like a husband or something like that, they'll ask them. But yeah, if you're able to make those decisions, they never should have, he never should have even come to you with that. And it's about money. A lot of times it's about money, especially a new research, a new procedure.
It was a new procedure.
Right. And so he's going to earn money for that hospital. We're going to bring in, whatever that looks like. So no, to answer the question that came in, it doesn't matter if they're black or white. I just think at the end of the day, we live in a healthcare system that is money driven, is claim driven, ICD-10 code driven. And now, what you were about to say something about the nurses. What did they say when
they came to see me? And this was rare. Normally, they see you coming in. They don't really see you coming out. They actually came and sat and talked to me and told me that because I had that conversation with him, I reported him. I actually wrote him up that I actually saved other lives because he was getting sloppy. And I was the last one, I guess. I was like, well, I'm the last one he's going to with because he's not going to do it to anyone else. And I wrote down some stuff and they were like, I'm glad you did that because you saved some lives. And we didn't even think you were going to make it. But, he was getting really confident, cocky, and sloppy. And treating you that way, you shouldn't have been, you shouldn't have experienced that, but you almost didn't make it. And I was like, it was traumatic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was like, well, I'm just trying to have a baby, baby. I don't want to be caught up in this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But a lot of women find themselves, like you said, because of money, politics, because of politics, they're just trying to get more funding or research, pride, whatever. We're caught up. And as black women, though, we're seen as though we can handle it. So it's not race 100% of the time because there are white women also dying, but we just don't have the access to some of the better doctors and benefits and things. So we're subject to
being guinea pigs, or just disregarded. But I know in nurses now, doctors may learn something different in school, but I know they teach us pain is what the patient says it is. There are some people who can sit through pain and watch TV. You may go in their room and are you in pain? They'll say I'm 10 out of 10 pain, or I have this going on. They're relaxing. The next person in the next room is screaming at like 4 out of 10 pain. Right. We're like, wait a minute, everybody's pain tolerance is different. And so, when someone says they're in pain, we are supposed to honor it. And nurses, I would recommend, and I work in management now as a nurse, so I can say this, you need to be documenting. If your patient says they're 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10, as you all know, there's the pain scale, and then you give medications based on certain pain or whatever it is those interventions are. You need to cover yourself because if you say they're 9 out of 10 and the doctor chooses to not take that patient's word serious, you're covered because you confirmed, you advocated for them and said, no, they've been 9 out of 10 pain for like 2 or 3 hours, whatever that looks like. So, and
that's good. I actually had to get up from an ER. My, dad used to work at, so he was like, you can always call the, charge nurse.
Yeah.
So when I was in there and I had I told you because you guys know, the granulomas on my brain and stuff. They found it in that last C-section with those. That's how I knew my skull was cracked and all that stuff, the TIAs. So I would have these massive headaches, right? Sudden. This first one was sudden. This was before I even started having babies. And I was like, went to the ER. And whenever you have a sudden headache, you need to go to the ER when it's massive. Like I couldn't bend over anything because it's like I was going to pass out because it was pounding. Went there. And no, it wasn't. I had already had a couple of C-sections. So, C-section, you're preparing for C-section. That's a lot of pain. So, I mean, my pain threshold is high. You know what I'm saying? So I went in and stuff, and I was like, I'm having a massive headache, and, I could hardly talk to him and see it, turn the lights off and stuff. They did a CT scan. I think they said we could tell you're having a headache on the scan. This doctor, dry eyes, clear eyes, you're awesome. You know that guy that talks like that?
Yeah.
He talked like that.
Monotone.
Yeah, he was like, you don't look like you're in pain. You don't act like you're in pain. And I had this head, and he was like, I don't think you're in that much pain because you don't act like it. And he said that to me. And I remember getting on looking at him because I just I can't, he was running my blood pressure up and I couldn't deal with it. And I said, get my clothes, put my clothes on. I was literally about to walk out of the ER because of him. And then I remember my dad saying, call the charge nurse. So I called the It's like, well, no, I'll do something. I said, no, I don't want you to touch me. Don't touch me.
Yeah, so many people don't so what if you had walked out of the ER and died, right? Then you would have, not died in their facility. There's some people who leave the ER because they're hearing the doctors. But good, I forgot I was going to say, good that you got the charge nurse, though, because there are many times the doctors, like a situation with our brother, we challenge them. And we're going to say, no, I understand what this is. Give her what she needs. But yeah. Oh, and another thing I was going to say is a lot of times when you're in pain, you can't think. So you can't fight for yourself, and which is always good to have someone with you if you can. But you're just in so much pain. You're like, just help me. That's all you can really say.
So I'm that person with the high pain threshold or whatever. So even with most of my pain I've experienced with giving birth, and even some situations that I've had, y'all know, outside of having children, having surgeries and everything like that. My experiences aren't always great. They do believe, you have to go in there acting. I would, I'm not a very,
You have to be dramatic.
I just, I be chilling. Most of the time I'm in pain. That was so good. I wish I could tell that story right now.
Oh my God.
But no, and I don't like feeling as if I know you're going to just send me home. And it gets to a point where, you go to the doctor, if it's an ER visit or whatever, and they're just like, I know they're going to send me home. I might as well stay home. I might as well Google it. I might as well just, because I'm going to waste money and time going to the doctor's office. They're going to send me this big bill, or, insurance isn't going to, whatever. And then there's a whole other thing with that, because healthcare, for some people, they don't have it. So when they go because they really need to go, but then they get sent home like it's nothing. Or, with our people, they'll just prescribe something that's not even relevant to whatever the issue is, and you don't get healed anyway, and you end up right back. So I just think there are a lot of different ways to just.
I think the squeaky wheel gets the oil. You're a squeaky wheel.
I'm a squeaky wheel.
Janetta's a squeaky wheel.
Have to be.
I'm learning it with my kids to be a squeaky wheel.
Yeah.
Now, not myself, I need some more work. But with my kids, I'm a squeaky wheel.
Okay.
For sure.
Self-care as a woman, I need you to squeak for
No,
yourself.
I'm getting there, but I'm taking better care of myself too, so I don't have to. I'm not in that position quite as often.
Right. Yeah.
But I'm squeak with my kids.
Yeah. Squeaky wheel.
Because they can't squeak for themselves.
They can't. And I always say, articulate what you need. Don't just act out, because then they can IVC you, right?
True.
So
what is IVC?
Involuntarily commit you, because they think you're crazy, and they can call in, guards and security and all that. So it's a way to do it.
Right.
That's a whole nother show. But yeah, squeak. Be a whistleblower, so to speak.
Be an advocate for yourself.
Advocate for yourself. Let them know I will, just do what you got to do. I'm
and
trying
like
not
you
to use
said,
words,
bring
but
someone with you.
Yeah.
And gain as much knowledge as you can on your situation before you enter, because they'll ask questions like, are you in the medical field? Are you?
Yeah,
I remember
I've had
even
that
with
a
the
lot.
situation with our brother, I remember there was somebody in the medical field, and then it kind of, sometimes it'll change their tune, and
And I've had asked, when Dad, I'm like, put me on speakerphone. I've
Yeah.
had a doctor in there talking to him about a situation. I said, put me on speakerphone. And then it's just different.
It is.
It's just
It's
different.
accountability.
Yeah.
I think you have a witness.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
a witness and accountability. So that's why when you put somebody else on the phone or somebody else is in the room, the behavior changes. So if they know, wait a minute, I'm dealing with someone who's knowledgeable, then I can't just do anything. I have to be on my P's and Q's.
So for those who don't have someone, can we get into the history behind why they just send you home when you go to the ER?
Well, yeah, because I went to the History Channel, y'all. History. And I saw this article, and it was like the father of modern gynecology performed shocking experiments on slaves. So in here is talking about, he's a medical trailblazer. He did deal with fistulas, and stuff, but he used us black women as the guinea pigs, as the the people that he wanted to test his theories out on.
And we worried about animals.
He invented the vaginal speculum. Yeah, we were the first animals that they did all that. Matter of fact, they care more about the animals than they did about us.
Saying.
I mean, even now, if you kill an animal, you go to jail. You kill a black man, our life don't matter. So I had to slide it in there. Anyway, so they used they invented the vaginal speculum and used it as a tool. So you kind of, as I was reading, I was like, okay, that helps us for today.
Makes sense.
But
now, is this a white guy?
This is a white guy.
I hate to say this, but did he invent it or did a black guy invent it? He got the credit.
That happened to Jack
always,
Daniels. That's always a question. Honestly,
all the shade. I hope it feels good because it's hot outside.
Because he didn't feel bad about it because he said this was his property. So even the people that invented it was his property. Again, we weren't seen as human.
Property,
I mean, you know what I'm saying? So,
but we were brilliant,
right? Oh my gosh. So so he was born in South Carolina. His name is James Marion Sims, and he entered the medical profession when doctors didn't undergo the same rigorous coursework and training they do today. So he didn't have a lot of the rigorous training and stuff. I think he did like a 3-month course or something and studying at Jefferson Medical College, and he began practicing. But what I think was interesting is when he did the exams on the women, he did not use any anesthesia. No.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
No anesthesia.
Oh my God.
They were feeling it all the way through and through. No pain relief because remember, it says in here, I have to find it actually, it says that they didn't believe that the women, that we could tolerate the pain more because, again, we were not thought about as being 100% human. So we could tolerate it and we could, they could do whatever he wanted. And in his biography, he said that, he said that he later reflected in his autobiography, The Story of My Life, on the advantages he found to working on people that were essentially his property. So he could do what he did. Sometimes try to get consent. He said one lady was in a lot of pain. He said she was in a lot of pain and she needed, and he went in there, and fixed her. But a lot of times he just said, if I wanted to experiment or figure something out, property. I tested it on the black woman, especially during pregnancy. It was really big about the pregnancy thing. So I know. So I think a lot of our issues stem from around because we're so tough, because we were having babies without anesthesia. We're seen as we're tough and we can do it, because we can survive so many things. So maybe we are stronger in some ways, but that doesn't mean we don't feel pain the same way someone else does.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? We just learn to adapt.
That's what it is.
Adapt to what we had to do to bring our children into the world.
I just wonder, and I don't know the answer to this, at what point is that malpractice? When you don't?
I think it starts as malpractice.
Yeah.
I think it started off that way.
Yeah.
Mal means bad, right?
So bad
practice. It's bad practice.
So if a woman comes in and tells you she's in pain or if there's something going on with her labor and you don't take it serious,
that's malpractice.
It's
not for you to decide.
Yeah.
And guys, these were surgical treatments. I don't want to say he was actually doing surgery.
You're cutting tissue and nerves and muscle.
And with delivering children, you're cutting 4 layers. You're cutting 4 layers. So,
I couldn't imagine.
Y'all, we're going to be right back. No matter your perspective, we've got you. No matter your background, we've got you. Unapologetically holding you down. Tribe Talk, we've got you. No matter your perspective, we've got you. No matter your background, we've got you. Unapologetically holding you down. Tribe Talk, we've got you. Welcome back to Tribe Talk Radio Show. We are going to jump right into our CTA segment. That's our call to action segment where we each take a minute and give a little bit of insight or give you an inspirational message based on what we talked about today. Pretty much what the CTA is. I can start. I wanted to go back. I was talking about parenting Black children, and I want to talk about colorism. Santisha hit on it a little bit before one of our breaks. And let's work on not telling our children this summer that they're getting too dark, because that is not okay. Black is beautiful. We are all shades up and down. Because I had,
especially if Black people are your target, you want to definitely be true. Please, but yeah, so I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Just make sure you're not afraid. That is a fear of many Black business owners. They just don't want to put their face out there as being the face of their business. Or you may not want to use your face, but use Black faces on your website, on your marketing materials. That's how the other races, I believe, are going to respect what it is we have to offer, because it looks professional. If we keep throwing their images out there, then how are they ever going to know that we can do it?
That's good.
So let's just be bold about it,
And with my CTA, there was a little bit of data that I didn't get a chance to read. And I want to thank Essence for this article. In an exclusive op-ed for Essence, Senator Elizabeth Warren lays out her plan for improving maternal mortality in Black and brown mothers. The data shows that Black women are 3 to 4 times more likely than white women to die from pregnancy or child-related issues. This trend persists even after adjusting for income and education. Mm-hmm. One major reason, racism. In a detailed report, ProPublica found that the vast majority of maternal deaths are preventable. Both decades of racism and discrimination mean that too often doctors and nurses don't hear Black women's health issues the same way they hear from other women. So what I want to just say is keep that in mind and advocate for yourself.
Yes.
Fight. Because they have to document, as Santisha said earlier, and you have to live with it, right? You got to live with the pain, right? You have to live with this, and your family members as well. So fight. Let's do our part to support also the people who are trying to change this, not just in the rhetoric now. They're actually, putting it out there, and they're trying to create policy that will hold these health systems accountable. Yeah. So let's do our part to support. Let's get the message out there that this discussion is there, but let's be a part of the solution and not the problem. But from your own personal perspective, make sure that you, like you said, are knowledgeable about your situation, and make sure that you fight. Because if you don't fight for yourself, then who will?
Who will?
They won't.
Nope.
All right. Well, that wraps up this episode of Tribe Talk Radio Show. Stay tuned to next Saturday show on Skyhawk Radio and Spreaker for a continuation of this topic. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be good because this was great.
Yeah, specifically focusing on the women's health, prenatal, intranatal, and postnatal, postpartum.
That's right.
That's right. And we will also continue some of this discussion on Facebook.
Yeah.
So make sure you also follow us on Facebook.
Yes.
We'll tell you what it is. It'll be colorism. We're going to do a mini talk on colorism.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's going to be good.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So how can you listen to us with future shows? Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Spreaker and Skyhawk every other week, and YouTube Live now at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, every other week. Contact us at contact@tribetalkradioshow.com or Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Tribe Talk Radio Show. We got you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.